Alright, so we are going to change topics and talk about human impact on our environment. So our standard says, obtain, evaluate, and communicate information about the effects of human population growth on global ecosystems. Construct explanations about the relationship between the quality of life and human impact on the environment in terms of population growth, education, and gross national product. Analyze and interpret data on global patterns of population growth, fertility and mortality rates, and demographic transitions in developing and developed countries. Our 3 learning goals: explain the relationship between the quality of life and the human impact on the environment in terms of population growth, education, and gross national product. Learning goal 2, analyze and interpret data about population growth based on fertility and mortality rates. Learning goal 3, graph data based on demographic transitions in developing and developed countries. So our first learning goal is to explain the relationship between the quality of life and the human impact on the environment in terms of population growth, education, and gross national product. So our success criteria: identify the meaning of quality of life, describe ways in which humans impact the environment, define population growth and education, and gross national product, or GNP. Analyze graphs to explain how quality of life is impacted by human impact. So, we all live on planet Earth. So humans depend on the Earth's environment for food, water, air, shelter, and many other resources. Humans are the only species on Earth that have the ability to understand, manipulate, and damage the Earth's ecosystems. So we know with environmental science, it's the study of the interaction between humans and the environment. So what is quality of life? Quality of life is the degree to which an individual is healthy, comfortable, and able to participate in or enjoy life events. Let's talk about the history of human impact. So human activities change locally and global environments. Humans are the most important source of environmental change on the planet. Some activities that affect the earth are hunting and gathering, agriculture, urban development, and industry. So let's talk about hunting and gathering. So early humans obtained food by hunting and gathering. They hunted mammals and birds, fish from rivers, streams, and oceans. They gathered seeds, fruits, and nuts. They learned which plants were edible and which were not. The first humans arrived in North America about 12,000 years ago. Their arrival was followed by the mass extinction of woolly mammoths, giant sloths, and saber-toothed cats. Although not extinct worldwide, some species that once lived in North America disappeared. These species include cheetahs, zebras, and yaks. So in terms of agriculture, by the end of the last ice age, 11,000 years ago, humans had begun the practice of agriculture. So early humans quickly learned how plants grew and ripened. They learned which plants were suitable as foods and which plants had medicinal purposes. So the word medicinal means applicable to medicine. So some plants you can use as for medical purposes. For example, aloe vera plant. Okay, you take an aloe vera plant and rub the juice from the plant onto a burn. Okay, so aloe vera helps with like sunburn, for example. And so an aloe vera plant is a plant that's used for medicinal purposes because you use the plant not just for eating, but also for helping heal your skin from a sunburn. So we know agriculture is the practice of farming, including the growing of plants, the raising of animals, such as sheep, cows, pigs, and horses. So the development of agriculture created a steady and stable food supply. As a result, humans began to settle in towns and communities. With the development of tools and machinery, humans began to change the landscape. Forests were cleared, and fertile prairies were converted to farmland. Eventually, chemical fertilizers and pesticides were used to develop increased crop yields. Also, the practice of irrigation. So, irrigation is the practice of using water to flood your fields, to water your fields. So, irrigation was allowed dry areas to become farmland. These advancements in agriculture brought about major changes in the environment. So pesticides can harm beneficial insects, contaminate water supplies, and accumulate in the environment. So the challenge faced by humans today is how to maintain a standard living while controlling the harmful effects of human activity on global ecosystems. So even though we've made advances in the way we live and we have a stable food supply, all of that has an impact on our environment. Okay? So we talked about some of the resources that we use, natural resources. So we need to learn the difference between a renewable resource and non-renewable resources. So the earth provides humans with all living organisms with many goods and services. The resources to all living things can be classified in two groups as renewable or non-renewable resources. Renewable resources are resources that can regenerate if they are alive, or can be replenished by biochemical cycles if they are non-living. A tree is a renewable resource since a tree can grow if an older tree dies or is cut down. You can plant a new one in its place and it will regrow. That's an example of a renewable resource. Non-renewable resources, examples for those are fossil fuels, coal, oil, natural gas. They're non-renewable resources because when they're gone, they're depleted forever. They cannot be replenished by natural resources. Now you may say, well, they can, but over a very, very long period of time. So when we talk about non-renewable resources, what we're saying is within a human lifespan, you cannot replace coal or oil or gas. Okay, the process of that's happening in the earth is still occurring, but it takes a very long time to create oil. Okay, and so it's considered a non-renewable resource because within our lifetimes, it cannot be replenished. Like a tree might take 20 years, but a tree can grow. So with coal and oil, it takes millions and millions of years to create oil from through a natural process. All right, so our goal here is have a sustainable way of living. So a sustainable development is a process by using natural resources without depleting them. Sustainable development provides for human needs without causing environmental harm. Human activities affect the quality and quantity of renewable resources, such as land, forests, fisheries, air, and fresh water.